is going to start coming up here now. Yeah, we're partially live already.
Okay.
Okay. Quickly this. Oh, that. I can turn the volume. Oh. Actually, I was monkeying around this morning, and I kind of forgot that had the tech team doing the switchover at 11:30, and he actually had to call me because they're the ones that certify all the nominee. Well, I'll tell you about it here in a minute.
Sure.
Okay, I think we're almost there. I'm going to get Facebook up where it should be. Okay, we should have a big crowd because I announced it on might be on the new media show page. Sure. All right. I don't know if you want to keep an eye or if you can, Rob, if you have time to just watch the new media show page chat.
On Facebook?
Yeah. And I'll try to load it over here too to keep an eye on it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
I think we're we're live. And double checking everything here. Okay. How did that? Hey everyone, welcome to the new media show. My name is Todd Cochran. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee. Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing terrific, Todd. Great to be back. Just you and I doing the show. I know Wednesday we had quite a group.
Yeah.
I think that's probably about the most we've ever had on the show at one time. I think on stage I think we've had like 5 or 6 before, I guess, live on stage. But it's good to be back, just you and I.
Yep, I got a little confused early on in the show. I thought our coordinator was part of the show, because they kept saying, "Hey, how come you haven't said nothing?" And then I kind of clued in. I'm like, "Oh, he's just the coordinator for Podfest."
Right, exactly. But that's okay.
But
he gave his comments a little bit, which is good.
Hey, Rob, did you get your ears lowered?
I did. I knew you were going to say that. I just knew the exact word.
I think
it's fully anticipated.
Oh, good. Well, your haircut looks good. You must have had like 5 inches taken off.
I did. It was getting a little shaggy, Todd. I agree.
Well,
but it just speaks to how well I know you, right? From the standpoint of us being together for so long, because both of us have had haircuts over the years, right?
Yeah.
And we've definitely lowered our ears quite a few times.
Yeah, this one's pretty dramatic, though. You were looking pretty shaggy dog there for a while. So,
well, it's the whole COVID thing, right?
Yeah.
Just don't get out and get your hair cut. And self cuts are not a pleasant thing.
That's I'm self-evident. It's why I'm bald. Hey, we may have some of the Podcast Awards folks joining us. We tweeted it. I don't know if any of you are here or not, but if you are, I think you're over on the Podcast Awards Facebook page. If you're not subscribed to the show, this is a great place to get insights on podcasting. You go over to newmediashow.com and just hit subscribe. But I think for their benefit, I will start the show out talking about the Podcast Awards, the nomination process this year and everything. So we had a significant number of folks participate this year. I think it was about 800 shows, I think, is the total. And maybe not that many, but somewhere in there. I actually don't even go in and look at the list anymore. One category we're going to drop next year is the government category. I only had 4 entrants this year. So And we actually had fifth, but the fifth show didn't garner any votes at all. They didn't even vote for themselves. So next year we're going to drop the government category and replace it with something else. So if you have ideas, I'm open to a new category for next year. So that'll be something we'll replace. But what really blew me away was the participation rate this year on the website, and you never know how many listeners are going to participate, how many shows they're going to actually look at. Because sometimes a listener comes in just vote for one show,
right, and
it's the show that basically, hey, the podcaster said, hey, go in and vote for my show, and we really want that to be a much bigger. Especially in the early nomination phase, you've got, maybe 50 shows, 60 shows in a category, sports or whatever. And if they vote for, and we don't give them any guidance, we don't tell them what they have to do. But this year, on average, the listener nominated 6 shows. So it's really good. And that number's up from previous years. So that gives me a warm and fuzzy there. Close to 500,000 listeners came in and nominated. So that is another big number this year.
Yeah.
But yet we had shows that made the slate that only acquired maybe 120 votes. So there was some spread, obviously, and some categories, some categories don't garner a lot of attention, like arts, and
right,
certain categories are a little thinner in the number of nominees and a little thinner on voting, or some categories are heavy on voting. The not TV, but the which category I was going to talk about, the category in storytelling and drama, heavily represented in shows. TV and film, heavily represented in shows. Sports, always heavily represented. Of course, every show gets to be in the Adam Curry's Podcast Choice Award, the People's Choice, that category. Everyone gets to be in that category that registers. Big number of international shows that made the slate this year.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
Good to see that.
But what's interesting is English-spoken foreign shows. Had some K-pop shows, and I said, let me, if I can find one of them and bring it up. I don't want to influence the voting here. Matter of fact, I probably shouldn't say anything, but there's a number of shows that were, I was kind of like, what? Who's this? And loaded their homepage up and looked at their shows and was kind of blown away. I just, whoa, this show's got a fan base. Shows that I would have never expected. One thing I did see that really shocked me was the number of shows that nary have a subscribe link on their webpage at all. It was on you go through these, if you load every nominee page,
right,
and look at the number of shows that do not have a way to subscribe to their podcast, it shocks me that they made the slate. So that tells me maybe the need to have all those subscribe buttons isn't as big as it used to be.
Well, do they have subscribe button in the web players? Just not on the website?
Some of these podcasts, I found no web player.
No web players. So you couldn't listen to the audio at all?
Not at all on the website. Not at all. Which, and it was a lot of shows. No web player whatsoever. And a number of shows made Spotify their homepage for their show. Some shows had Spotify only, didn't even have Apple Podcasts listed on their website. Only Spotify.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of podcasts using the Spotify web players and things like that on
I didn't see
pages now.
Again, everyone can kind of go through, and we've got a link. If you go to the podcastwords.com website, there's a little arrow. If you click on, I would recommend every person, well, let me load them all up. The ones that made the People's Choice. Let me load those pages, and we can just go through them, and I'll have them all loaded so that we can, equally look at each one.
Right, and see what they're doing. Right?
Yeah. So here is Derek and Romaine. You kind of look at the front page here, and you don't really know how to get the show. There is a how to listen button tab. And then if I go to this show, how did I get here with JD of day 6 as listen on Apple? Well, I'm not showing you. That's dumb. So let me go back to Derek and Romaine. So here's their landing page. And you just kind of look at it, and it says they got a thing on here, ways to listen, so you can load that.
Right.
And another thing, too, some of these websites are dreadfully slow. Dreadfully slow. And podcasters need to start paying attention to that. How did I get here with JD? I listen to Apple Podcasts, listen on Spotify, listen on Google Podcasts, and really, very plain Jane landing site. Another show, K-pop Daybach show with Eric Nam. Again, too interesting that made it into the People's Choice. Again, 3 ways to subscribe right on the front page, just a landing page only. We look at Outlander Cass. You just basically says listen now.
Right.
And
what happens when you click on
when you
listen
click
now?
on that, you can go down and you can find the shows, but now let me go to, I think here's YouTube. Let me click the third way. See, it takes me 3 clicks to get to a player. And no one's going to click 3 clicks to get to a player on a website.
Right.
So let's go to the fourth. Here's one. Play, watch, listen. Player right on the front of the website. But only thing here is Twitter, RSS feed, Spotify, and go to the YouTube channel. There's no way to subscribe on Apple.
Right.
So here's another one. Stacy Croter. I probably pronounced her name wrong. Podcast recaps. And okay, so I'm looking over here. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Where's that link go? That goes to Spotify. So if I click on that, it takes it to her Spotify page. Oh, couldn't find that podcast. Well, so broken link on our website.
So is that the podcast link at the top of the page? Is that what that is?
Well, here's one that says podcast. And it just, again, so let's look at a podcast episode.
Right.
No way.
Okay.
No player.
It said play down there. It says listen.
Yeah, now watch this. Watch where this takes you.
Full episode.
Watch where this takes you. Takes you to the Apple Store.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing,
but
yeah.
Why?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's better to have a web player embedded there. Right.
Then we go to Talking Pops. So latest episode, Add Icons, Christmas Vacation. Let me go ahead and load this. No player again. None.
Yeah.
And let me go here and browse episodes. Where does this take me?
Oh, no. There's a player on that page. Go back.
Oh, there is. On that page, there is.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Right. Well, it's kind of faded into the back.
But if I go to this, let me go back to this episode page.
It's there.
Is there a player on this? Oh, it is. It's up there faded in. You can barely see it. I would have missed it. So
well, I think maybe it didn't load.
Potentially.
I think it was a slow load, I think is what it was.
So let's go to Fantasy Footballers. They always do a good job. Their website's always, you got it right here. Listen, and it's on Apple Podcasts. You got
it's
Spotify, YouTube
too. Is that what it is?
Yeah, YouTube.
Well?
Yeah.
Right.
So
it's a video and audio.
Right. So it's both. And then we go over here to the Tableau podcast. See, 3 of these shows made the top 10. Again, same type of lineup. And then finally, Callie and Jeff. You got to listen now.
Okay, what happens when you click on that listen now? But
let's look at it. It does. It takes me to a Megaphone episode player.
Right. Yeah.
So it takes me to the Megaphone website. It takes you off their brand. Here you've got this show that's built this great brand, and you take people away from your website. This to me is all very bizarre strategies for podcasters. They've invested the time in websites, and then they just really. So it just shows you, Rob, that the podcasting space is changing, and there are no rules. People are doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
So traditionally, where I would think people would want to have their episode, because if you look at Google bounce rates, if you're one of these hosts, I encourage you to look at your Google web stats and see how many people make it beyond the first click of your web page.
Right.
People aren't going to click 3 times. So if these shows are doing great already.
Right. I mean, Todd, I think you've been seeing these kind of things for many years.
Long time.
This is not a new phenomenon.
Nothing new.
Yeah. So I think it's an education thing. It's also understanding how to connect with web visitors. I just don't think that there's a deep understanding widespread across the industry about what's the best practices.
No, and most of them probably don't care about a lot of these folks don't care about their websites, and they're doing okay, obviously.
Well, I guess if they show up high in the search results, that's probably all they care about, right?
I would imagine so, yeah.
And if I can also see it, if you spend a lot of time putting embedded web players into your website, if you ever want to change hosts, it does cause a problem. And that may be I don't know if people are thinking about that. I don't know. But I can definitely see that as a complication for many shows that I work with. If they have a deep archive, they put web players on their website for all their episodes. Change hosts, you got to go in and change the web players, right? And that's a lot of labor. But I do agree, Todd, that putting a player on your landing page, homepage, is important, or at least give them a button to click to say "Listen now" or something like that. At the very least, right?
So Dan, the Podcast Award's been around for 15 years. I run it.
Yep.
So it's the original Podcast Awards. If you haven't heard about it, then you just search for Podcast Awards. We're the first search results.
Right.
So, yeah, we'd love to have more shows participate, but there is a registration fee, small registration fee of $25 to participate. We haven't had a lot of corporate sponsorship in the past. This year, even our podcast sponsor, maybe we'll have a few podcast sponsors come in now that want to be, get the exposure from it, because this page gets, 500,000 page views a month. So,
Todd, I mean, you guys are providing websites to your hosting folks.
Yeah.
How are those pages? I mean, can you pull up one of those pages?
Yeah, let me go over.
Just kind of show people what you guys are doing.
So let me show you. Okay, here's the Podcast Legends. This is right on one of our free WordPress sites. We provide podcasters.
Right. And what you're doing here is you're putting the episodes right up.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's where they land when they go to your website.
It's
almost like a blog, right?
Yeah, it is a blog.
Really, it's a blog format.
But you don't have to. You can make a landing page. You can design this any way you want. You can make a landing page be a single page and then have these sub pages somewhere else. We don't limit this is how I chose to do it.
And I think what's happening is that people are seeing these. What originally started, WordPress started out as kind of like a blog website platform, right? So people are taking that technology and they're creating probably less of a blog experience, more of a website.
Right.
So they're layering on these highly graphic landing pages as their homepage, and they're keeping it very minimalistic, right? They're trying to make it very visual, and that could create a slow load time too, because they got large images.
Yep.
They probably don't have deep metadata on their homepage, which could impact their SEO.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that I think people are looking at websites more from an aesthetic perspective and less from a practical source of metadata for discovery.
Here's the thing. People okay.
Right.
You record your show for your audience. Your website and the information you put on it is purely for Google.
Right.
It's purely for Google because what you want. Okay, so let me just copy this. They'll see where I show up in the Google result.
Right.
Oh, I'm the first result. TikTok is offering refunds for ad campaign. So I am
H1 tag is what they call it.
I am the first result on that page, and people go, "Oh, TikTok's offering refunds for ad campaigns. I want to know more about that." They land on this page. They're going to look at this article for about 3 seconds, and maybe they're going to look over here and say, "Holy shit, this guy's got a podcast." Huh, okay, I like tech. Let me go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. And that's all I'm trying to do is in a percentage, a small percentage, a percentage of a percentage will subscribe. But over 15 years, that's significant. And that's not a podcast episode. That's just a regular article.
Yeah. Just text.
Right. Just a text article. Whereas, I probably didn't write a great headline on this. Intel got hacked, idiots. Probably should have put an exclamation mark there. So, am I going to show up as Intel got hacked? Probably not. If I do this, let me see if I show up. Yes, I am number 2 in the search result.
Intel got hacked.
Number 2.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that is a podcast episode. People are going to. I ranked higher than ZDNet.
I mean, Todd, let's be clear what that is. What that is an H1 tag at the top of your webpage.
Right.
So if you're building a landing, that title text on that page has to be in the H1 tag.
But remember,
that's what Google looks.
But remember, Rob, there's more rules than that. This is a page with lots of articles, but there's multiple H1s on this page. But I don't care about. I care about Google ranking this page, the page where the article originates.
Right.
And when they do that, and we're kind of getting off the topic here, but when they do that, this is an H1. This is all lined up, and it follows the Google rules, so that as it goes down, it's structured correctly. And how am I rewarded? Intel hacked. I rated higher than ZDNet, TechRadar, Security Boulevard, which Wired.com, another article from Engadget. So on this search term, Intel got hacked. So what is the value? The value is 100 people are going to come to that page. They say, "Oh, Intel got hacked." They're going to hear about that because they did. They got hacked. And they had proprietary data. And people that interest are going to type in Google, Intel got hacked. And I'm number 2 search results. Google says I'm the authority on that. Boom. They come to my page. And they come to my page. They read my article. And they say, "Oh, this guy's got a podcast." Click. They've subscribed. So I can talk an hour from this. We don't have to. So it's cool if you're a podcaster and all you're worried about is creating a podcast and you don't care about the metadata being found.
Right.
And you were a big name and you've grown 50,000 listeners. You probably don't care. Word of mouth is going to grow that show.
Right.
But if you're got 100 listeners and you want 50,000 listeners, listen to what the hell I'm saying. And it's not going to, you can't do it in 1 year.
And it's called organic search too, right? It's not stuff that you have to pay for.
But, and here's the beauty about this. There's 50, okay, let me go to my let me go to my dashboard and I'll tell you exactly how many posts are in my system. all posts. There's 14,860 posts. 8,000 of those were done by me. 14,860 over 15 years.
Yeah. That's a lot of places to be found in Google.
That's a lot of places to be found in Google. But if you do 2-3 posts a week, plus your podcast, that's 4 a week. And then you multiply that out by how many weeks are there in a year? 50 weeks in a year, 54 weeks, whatever it is. What's our number? 48, 50? I don't even know.
52.
52. Okay. So so 52 times 4 is 200 posts in your website. And if you don't cut and paste and you write original content and you learn how to write a good first paragraph, you will build authority. You will build Google authority. You don't build authority on day one.
Right.
And you write good headlines. I'm always telling my team at Blueberry, hate this headline, wrong headline, wrong headline. You didn't get a good headline. And well, it's not about the article. I said, it's the headline that encompasses the first paragraph of the body of the content that Google looks for.
Right.
So if you have a website with just this pretty landing page, it looks beautiful, but it's doing nothing for you.
It's like being in the newspaper business, Todd, in some ways, right?
Yeah.
It's those headings, titles at the top of the article is what people get gravitated towards.
So,
and I think you really have to really think about your episode title and what you use on your website.
Gimlet.
Those are important.
Gimlet took all their shows and pointed them at Spotify. They're trying to depreciate the Gimlet landing pages completely. There is a concentrated effort by Gimlet. They've been told you will push people to Spotify. Right. You will depreciate everything that Gimlet's doing. You will not embrace people finding this show on Google and going to a landing page. You will push them to Spotify. On the other hand, CBS has 4 entrants this year. On every one of the CBS entries, I had to go look for the landing page for their show and adjust their entry because somebody that registered the CBS shows put in CBS.com.
Right.
And not the link to the shows.
Right.
So, and also this year, hey, it's been a while. We had some cheaters this year.
We did.
We do. In my dashboard, which I can't show you, we have this assessment score. And this assessment score, 99% of all the entrants and all the nominations score in the high 90s, 91, 92, 93, 94, some as high as 98. It means that they have passed 10 of our checks. We check this, check this, check this, check this, do a cross-check of this and that, cross-check of all the nominees, and they get this assessment score. Well, 5 shows that would have made the slate had assessment scores in the 10% range.
What were they doing wrong?
I won't say,
everything wrong.
But the 5 hours of effort that those shows, and we think they're all kind of related maybe together, the 5 hours worth of effort for each show was time you'll never get back because you've been banned for life. You're done with us. I will register those shows, names, URLs, everything. It goes in a blacklist. They will not ever be able to participate again. So.
They must have done something really good.
No, they didn't. They did something basic. And that's what One Technologies, Tim Morris over at One Technologies, he's the one that goes and validate. Because I said, I went through and he's basically got the results. And I said, okay, we've got 5 shows here that in voting rank should have made the slate. But I see they've got basically assessment score of 10%. I said, so we walked through each of those. What did that show do? And he said, let me read the log file to you. Because we have a log file of all these incidents. Right. And he said, this is what they did. I'm like, okay. I said, yep, they're out. So
Hmm.
I don't even want to say because here's creating 100
Give us a
Gmail
tease, right?
creating
Give us a
100 Gmail accounts is not going to help you.
Hmm. That does sound interesting. Yeah.
Sean, I haven't had it happen for a number of years. We'll probably let them know. And again, this is the first time actually first time I've had a show that we've had to 5 shows we had to disqualify in a long time. And we were very, very careful about doing that because we want to make, that's why we reviewed every show and we said, okay, what were they doing? And, the log file was evident that someone was very desperate to make the slate and went to a lot, and like 5 hours on each show of work.
Wow.
So they will have
So
known
what-
they didn't make the slate.
What was the most popular nominated category
Oh, let me look.
this year? Just curious on that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Comedy is always pretty big.
Well, it's such a big bucket of. I mean, what's the?
Yeah, I'm.
There's a lot of shows that can just use that category, even though they're
Yeah.
not really comedy.
Business was big. Education was medium. Games and hot. Well, I don't have a straight list. I'm just doing some comparisons here. Health was huge this year. LGBTQ is huge this year.
Mm-hmm.
Religion is always probably one of the biggest, but I think this year, let me look here. Yeah, between society and storyteller, and society and culture and storyteller and drama, those were definitely the 2 biggest. I would say that storyteller and drama was the biggest category.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Now let's say for garnering votes. Well, I can't say that because a lot of these made it into the oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, are you seeing a lot of the larger media companies start to get involved, or are you seeing mainly indies?
Megaphone was participating. CBS was participating. ESPN participated. I don't know if it was their individual show hosts that registered or not, but mostly indie.
Mostly. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, mostly indie. But, CBS garnered 4 nominations this year. So just look through the nominated list. You can go through and see which are indies and which are not.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go up here and I can kind of tell. And what's interesting is that I can see how many nominations the top shows got. I know who won their categories. We never announced that though.
Right.
In fact, we don't even talk about what the bottom number was because it just causes consternation. And we didn't have any ties this year. I've had ties before, so when we have ties, we have to go to secondary data. So I didn't have any ties per se in the nomination phase. But one thing that will always ring out: the biggest shows will not win the final vote. The ones that garnered, because what we do is now I've got 5,000 listeners, 500 podcasters, and then I'm allotted 250 people to say yes, you can go vote if you want to, and we have to garner 4,000 listener votes. We have to garner 250 podcaster votes, and then a half of the percentage of the people that I invite in. If I don't get that many, if I look like I'm not going to hit 4,000 total participants that come in that they've said they want to, and we randomly pick from those people that participated in the first phase. If we don't get to 4,000 votes, that's where I've kind of figured out where it has to be. By about the 15th, if it doesn't look like we're trending there, I'll add another 2,500 voters to the pool to make sure we get above 4,000 votes.
Gotcha.
And we want 4,000 votes in each category.
Right.
And I won't pick people from the specific category, but I will send a note saying, hey, please review the shows, vote in those categories you feel comfortable voting in. We don't force them to vote in every category.
Right.
Because sometimes someone just doesn't know about a show. If they're maybe they listen to some sort of culture show or some sort of LGBT show, they may not listen to a tech show, and we don't necessarily want them just voting for tech and just picking somebody.
That's a good question. How do you think the tech category is doing these days? Is it still fading like it was
I think so.
For many years?
Yeah, I think it's fading. Yeah, I do. I think it is. It's not fading. It's just
it's not garnering
a
lot of attention like it used to.
Nope. And matter of fact, it was probably, from a registration standpoint, one of the thinner categories. Of course, shows my shows and shows I'm associated with can't participate, so can't put Geek News Central in or anything like that. So, and it probably, and from a vote standpoint, it probably was the tightest category of spread. So it's interesting for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about the origins of this medium, it was definitely heavy on the tech.
Yeah.
And then over the years, it kind of faded because people, it's almost like, it's almost like we're basic infrastructure now, right? The technology is kind of is disappearing into the fabric of culture and society is what's happening more and more. People aren't thinking about tech as much anymore. So, and that's probably a good trend, right? Or is it a trend or showing us that technology is just integrating into just the fabric of human existence, and people aren't really that focused on it anymore. It's there.
And we're not. We're not advancing as fast as we were. The actual tech is advancing still at a rapid rate, but when people are mostly,
but people don't care about it.
No, right? It's a web where the web is the web, and your phone is your phone, and mobile apps. That's the existence of. And then you have hardcore people that are still doing Linux, and those groups in specific coding shows that always garner huge numbers.
Right. For a certain community.
Yeah, for a certain community.
It's very niche.
Yep.
And I do wonder about what the future of the web is. I mean, I think this bifurcation that we live in between apps and the web, I have a hard time seeing it last the test of time.
I think people are waking up, and it's a certain segment of the web that is waking up. It's those that are being silenced, those that are being ghosted, those that are being suppressed. And let me just be frank about saying that word. It's just not conservatives that are being suppressed. It is people of color that are their words being suppressed. It's a wide spectrum of voices. I'm very strongly opinionated about this, and this is why I love podcasts.
Right.
You can't be devoiced. And the mainstream media, Facebook, Twitter, and all these groups, they say they don't devoice people. It's an absolute lie. Their systems do. Right. If you don't fall within a spectrum for them,
right?
If you're not a little bit right, a little bit left, you're good. But if you are a little bit more right and a little bit more left, your information is suppressed.
Or is it more based on fact versus misinformation?
It's not even that. You just watch. Okay, have you seen on any mainstream TV? Have you seen on Facebook Have you seen anything of the violence that is happening in Portland? Probably very little. But yet, you go on TikTok or you go on podcast and you're seeing stuff that you'll never see anywhere else. And it's not just that side, it's the other side too of stuff that has been shadow banned. It's outside of community guidelines. So voices are being silenced. And in podcasting, and the beauty of podcasting is you can also do video podcasting.
Well, I don't think that the voices are being silenced in the podcast.
No. Don't, not in the podcasting space, but everywhere else they're being silenced. And people always associate these terms of shadow banning, ghosting, all this stuff to conservatives. It's not just conservatives. It's a diverse group of voices that are being silenced. And people look at me funny when they say that because guess what? Those that are silenced are silenced.
Yeah, but how are they actually doing that?
Good question.
What's the mechanism that you're seeing that's causing that? The only thing I'm seeing is content's being taken down because it's deemed as untruthful or inaccurate or
content's being taken down all the time because it doesn't meet someone's community guideline standard.
Right, which is typically deemed, or it says on the website, it's misinformation or it's incorrect.
Or just taken down for doesn't meet community guidelines. So people don't believe it. It's happening. This is why podcasting. So here's if you say, Todd, you're crazy, that's not happening. No, and please say that. So 90% of the audience,
crazy,
please tell me
Todd.
I'm crazy. Great. Start a podcast. Start a podcast.
Right.
Because whatever I say doesn't matter. I could be off in Looney Tunes and run into conspiracy theory. It's whatever I say.
Yeah.
Start a podcast. You can't be devoiced.
Right. Really, Todd, my question prior to that was more about where do we see technology trending towards?
Well, it goes.
Is the World Wide Web and the internet something that's going to be succumbed to mobile experiences as you look to the future? I mean, both of us have desktops, right?
Yep.
Both of us. I think there's a large set of people in the world that don't have desktops.
Absolutely, they don't
have a laptop. They're doing everything on their mobile phones.
Absolutely.
Right?
So that's why today, and let me show you a little trick here. That's why today, let me switch my view. This is why Google, when they look at your web page,
that's how they're looking.
They are ranking it like this. You have to be mobile ready. This is
mobile responsive.
Well, mobile ready, mobile responsive. This is how they score. They don't score your website when Google ranking engine or Google search engine comes through. They don't look at this.
Right.
That's not how they rank. And for those of you listening, what I have done is I've taken my browser and I've squeezed it down as tight as I can to give you a mobile view.
Right.
And this is what every podcaster should do too. They should take their page and look at it on a mobile device and say, "Is this a good experience? Am I going to?" And look at the score you get from Google for being mobile ready. Don't even worry about the desktop score. The desktop score that's not how your page is ranked.
But Todd, my question is related to that, but only from the standpoint that do we see browsers in the long run going away and that same experience that you just saw right now in web app?
Chrome and Google are big on progressive web app. Right.
And I think that, and what the goal of this is to create one experience, right? Not this bifurcation
a unified, what they want
and websites.
Yeah. What they want you to do is to do a unified experience. So as an example, and again, for those of you that aren't watching, if you go over to geeknewscentral.com, people often ask me, why is your Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, TuneIn, Android, Stitcher button so big? Well, it's big because we're following the Google spec for a mobile experience. so that when
it's your
some
big fat finger,
big fat finger can hit that button and actually do something with it. And if I change the size of that button, guess what happens? My PageRank score goes down. So people say, well, that's too big. Well, you're doing it for the mobile user. You're not doing it for the browser user.
I mean, it still works for the browser user on a desktop, and it looks fine.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
But I'm an old school.
I am too. Yeah.
So the web definitely is going mobile, and that's why with our private internal podcasting product, we built a progressive web app. It looks just like being in an app. When you're on the site, it has all the functionality so that you can load the Android app, you can load the iOS app, but you can be on the website, log in, authenticate, everything there, and it's the same experience as being on an app. Because we know most people are going to come into the website with their phone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Todd, if you look at us, and listeners, it probably helped for them to understand where we come from. I mean, I started out in the career perspective with technology as a search engine marketing consultant. That's where I started working in this career. It was before I did podcasts, and before I worked for companies like Microsoft or whatever. I just helped small businesses get found in all the search engines that were available back in the late '90s. And so that's kind of and Todd is very much part of that experience as well, because he got started early in this too, and how important search engine discovery was in the early days of this medium. And and that's kind of the thing that you're hearing from Todd here, is that it's still important, right? And I think a lot of people lose sight of that because they get very focused on proprietary platforms, and they get focused on their own apps, and people are shifting the focus away from Google a little bit, and driving people to these big platforms. It's a little bit like what we experienced, Todd, with AOL in the early days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are we heading back to AOL experience again?
Well,
right?
that would be Facebook, right? So,
right.
So I think there's an important thing for me to follow up from what you just said. Yeah, I'm all about personal self-serving stuff with my own website, because I know that without my website, that my sponsor GoDaddy would quit very quickly if I was not able to drive traffic to them by getting new listeners to my show and doing conversions. I'd be without a sponsor. And I've held that sponsor now for 15 years. And
GoDaddy's very much focused on driving people utilizing their website.
That's right. Using their products and services and so forth. They're a sponsor of my show. They have been since June of 2005. And I've kept them consistently. And they write me a nice check every month. And for me, I have to feed the beast. I will never stop blogging because I understand the value in that. And I also understand strategies to keep sponsors happy. But it's part of a bigger piece. The website is just one thing.
Right.
But I make sure that everything, and we talked about this 100 times on the show, the one thing I do, and I don't do it very well for New Media Show. I don't have the same stake in building what I've done at Geek News Central on New Media Show, or I'd have much more extensive show notes and blah, blah, blah. But, we expect the podcasters word of mouth. It's a little different strategy. But for Geek News Central, everything I do feeds the beast. And this is why with CES being gone this year, I'm thinking, how am I going to, that's accountable to me for 6 to 7 million page views on my website. How do I replace that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do I pay for those 6 to 7 million page views? I pay in going to the show, doing the content, doing the post-production, spending $20,000 to get those 6.7 million views on the website to grow more listeners and keep this machine running.
In some ways, the immediate thing came to my mind is create your own virtual event, Todd.
Maybe. Okay. But at the same time, then, and this is just for my podcast. And I do all this other stuff, right? And I don't have a massive audience at Geek News Central. I have enough audience to keep the sponsor happy,
right?
And so every podcaster has to decide what they want to do themselves, where they want to go. And if they decide that they just want a landing page with their picture on it and 3 subscribe links, that's great. And if they're having success, that's great, because maybe their name, maybe they have the PR firm. But I almost guarantee you that the average podcaster needs to, first of all, the majority of new podcasters have no, unless they come from the space, have no authority in the subject matter they're talking about. Right. Or maybe they have a county or 2 counties, or maybe they're known in a small region of areas as being a subject matter expert on a topic. Maybe you're a financial advisor and you've got 100 clients. Well, outside of your regional information, people don't know you from Jack. So you have to build your cred. You have to build your authority and bring good guests and have good content and have information on their website. But this is why people that have established businesses that add a podcast to it are always successful, because they have an established place, established brick and mortar, or whatever. Most podcasters don't. And I guess I've gotten to the point now where I used to beat this into people's head, and I'm done. I'm done beating it in their head. If you want a Twitter page or an Instagram page and that's it, and you want a Facebook page, landing page, more power to you. And when you're ready to build your show, come talk to me. And if you did build a successful show just on Facebook, please come talk to me. We want to hear how you did it.
There's not a lot of people doing that.
Well, if they do, then we want to hear how they did it. Let's, you teach an old dog new tricks, right?
Yeah, right. That's right. We're definitely open to new tricks. Just there oftentimes aren't that many. So, yeah, we're always on the hunt for something new that works.
So someone asked, I missed the first few minutes, but on comedy categories, are thoughts on splitting it out? There is going to be an open category next year, so maybe. Second question, thoughts on podcasts that makes a slate but haven't released a new episode in the last 3, 6, 9 months. Doesn't matter as long as they met the qualification standards. Serial hasn't created any new episodes in how long, and it's still doing huge downloads today. Our only qualifying criteria was that you've created 10 episodes before the nomination period opened. That was the only criteria. Some shows got disqualified because they hadn't created 10 episodes before July 1st. So, if we set the criteria that you've had to create 10 episodes, or you've had to create an episode within the last 3 months, I don't think there was too many shows that there might be 1 or 2 in there that haven't created a new episode. But if they're still popular, not a lot I can do about that. So what new category do you think I should add, Rob, to the award?
I know I need to look at your list of current categories, and I can really make
they follow
suggestion, because that's the process that we've been going through with the Podcast Academy right now. Is coming up with our categories, and I think we've settled on it.
This originally followed the original iTunes categories, with one exception. There's arts, business, comedy, education, entertainment, games and hobbies, government and organizations. That's the one that's going to go away. Health, kids and family, LGBTQ, and we have an LGBTQ category because there never was one anywhere. Right. Music, politics and news, religion and spirituality, science and medicine, society and culture, sports, storyteller, drama, tech, TV, and film. So I got to think about where to put this.
Yeah. Well, one of the categories that I wrestle with a lot is the entertainment category versus TV and film.
I have 2 of those.
How that, crosses over with comedy and things like that too, trying to get that sorted out. That's just one of those categories or groupings of categories that can cause a little bit of confusion, because they are big buckets, right? What's entertainment versus what's comedy? What's TV and movies versus entertainment
Yep.
and comedy, right? So, what shows go where is kind of a big bucket.
Yep.
So
we don't really, I don't judge the shows. If it looks like it's a TV and film show, if it looks like it's a storyteller drama, we're pretty liberal there because we have to be to a certain extent.
those are big shows.
Right.
I thought I was reading online some of the articles that are coming out right now, and this isn't necessarily directly related to podcasting, but the whole Hollywood and the entertainment industry is in a little bit of a crisis, right?
Yep.
And in what you're seeing with the movie theaters across the country, if things keep going the way they're going, I don't think that a lot of the movie theater chains are going to survive. I just think it's such a revolutionary time right now around content creation because of what happened. It's really shifting everything over to digital, and now there's talk about the release windows for movies that used to be 90 days. They gave 90 days to the movie theaters to release a film. Now there's talk about pulling it back to like 30 days.
Right.
There's many of the movie theaters across the country that are they're not going to open up, right? I mean, some of them are opening up outside of the U.S., but I just think it's an interesting time for the entertainment industry, and it also may signal a shift over to more content coming into the podcasting space that is more professional and things like that. So, I mean, it's an interesting time, right? We've seen these online video stuff. I mean, we're seeing people doing a lot more with online. It's almost like this COVID thing has created a revolution of digital content.
Well,
like never seen before.
It's not only that, they can't make movies right now.
That's right. Or frankly, even some TV shows can't be produced depending on how they're produced, right?
And that would and as we move into the fall, that's going to become much, much more evident. And I think that what we are going to have to, well, I live in a small town, and I keep saying 35,000 people, and my sister corrected me a couple of days. She says there's only 12,000 people in this town. Okay. So that's that's
even smaller.
Even smaller. And the town I grew up in is 7 miles away, and it's a one-stop light town, and it's half the businesses are boarded up. Right. So we've got one movie theater here, 4 screens, sitting on about 5 acres of land. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a national brand or if it's just a mom and pop one. They're going on 6 months being closed.
Yeah.
6 months. What? Okay, if it's a mom and pop shop and if they own the land and they own the building and they don't have any payments, maybe they'll survive. But can you imagine sitting on a commercial property in a mall?
With a loan payment on it too, right?
Right. And you have, you're expecting, 2,000 butts in the seat every day to be able to break even. I think this is utter destruction for that segment of the society. And but let's look at it from a different perspective. How many movies were you going to pre-COVID?
I wasn't going to many.
So I was going to more
personally
because I was going down to Columbus and hanging out for a week, and there was nothing to do but be in the hotel room. So maybe I'd see 1 or 2 movies a week.
Right.
And if I go into the movie, it's $12 for the ticket, and you get a popcorn and Coke, and you're $30 in. So that's $60 in 1 month I've spent on movies myself, just me, going and sit in my seat alone watching on the big screen.
Right.
Yet I'm pissed off at the same time, thinking I could have watched this on Netflix or Google Prime and probably would have been happy to pay $10 for the movie when it came out.
So before you keep moving on that, the talk right now with Disney that they're going to start making first run films available on digital
Yes.
Whether it be, I don't know if it's Netflix or off of their own platform for $30 a ticket.
30? No. No.
No.
Screw that. $30 for digital? Do I get to own it after I watch it?
I don't know about that, but I think that the thinking is that it's going to be family viewing, right? So to be like 3 to 4 people going to the movie theater, right?
Sorry, $30 ain't going to cut it. We're gonna wait. At
Right.
$10, yes. $9, yes, on mainstream movies you want to watch. But otherwise, no. We're gonna wait till that thing comes out of production, just like we have years past. Okay, I'm in a town where those of you that live in big cities and have big jobs and significant disposable income versus a community where I'm at, where people are making minimum wage and having a very tough time they have this much budget left to do something fun.
Right.
They're going to look at that, and they may have saved and took their kids to see this on the big screen and this experience. They get to see Cinderella or whatever,
right,
on the big screen. And this is something did you go see Star Wars as a kid, Rob?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Never forgot it. Made me a lifetime Star Wars fan.
Star Wars fan.
Right. Lifetime.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I saw it on the big screen. It was this big, huge, dramatic.
There was lines down the block.
It was amazing, right? So that is whatever age I was at that time that it came out, it stuck in my head. It's not going to be the same experience home on the 50-inch. Or if the family doesn't have a big screen TV.
But there's going to be a whole generation, Todd, that's going to come up without that experience.
Movie theaters will survive because of the experience coming out of this. It's going to be a rough hoe, but it's not the same. It's not worth $30. Seeing it on I got a 60-inch TV. I got my internet speed. Woohoo! Woo! It's 15 down. Right? Out in my country living place. And 3 megs up if I'm lucky. So am I going to be able to watch this 4K production? Nope. It's going to be 720p.
Right.
Little cloudy. It's not the same experience. And same thing with people that are living in this town. They don't have $69 or $99 to spend on high-speed internet. They're paying $49 for the lowest broadband speed they can get.
Well, Todd, Disney isn't thinking about folks like that. They put their business models together, aren't they?
No, they're thinking about, people are leaving New York, living in the big cities. They're thinking, but I think people now, if they haven't already,
there is an exodus happening right now out of the bigger urban areas.
Right. But I think now, more than ever, people are thinking about, my job wasn't COVID proof.
Right.
What's going to happen in the fall? Are we going to go back into another shutdown? I think people are hanging on to every penny. They may have more cash in the bank if they're still working, but I think people are hanging on to every penny with the thought that maybe they're going to get laid off for 3 months again come fall. At this $30 is simply insane, Disney.
Right.
Insane. But anybody in the chat room, you're going to pay $30 for a Disney movie?
For a first-run film. Yeah. I mean, it'll probably come out in the first 2 weeks into the whatever theaters are open.
If I can buy the DVD
after that, it'll be available on Netflix or Disney.com.
If it's on Apple, I can buy it probably for $20 or $29. Let's say if I can buy it and replay it 25 times.
Right. Yeah.
I buy movies on Apple all the time. And I wait for $5 deals to go on deal because little by little, I know my DVDs and VHS and all that stuff that is antiquated. If I can have a digital copy of it,
right.
I don't think Apple's going to screw me and I'll lose those if I do have invested money for nothing. But yeah, we can add surround sound and AR, but it's still not the same as sitting in front of that big, massive screen with the Dolby, all that whoop sounds that goes around. It's not the same. And you don't build lifetime memories of a series of programming sitting and watching it on your television. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Hey Todd, have you been following the discussions around this new glasses device that Apple's going to be releasing in the next year?
I've got some glasses. Anybody want to buy the original Google Glass? I'll make a deal on them. They're 15 feet away and they're locked up in the secure room. If you'd like to make me an offer, send me an email. geeknews@gmail.com.
Yeah, I think they're great for watching content in the shower too, right?
Go ahead. To think I flew to Los Angeles, stayed in a hotel. Yes, stayed in a hotel and went to the Google Glass place and had an experience to get my Google Glass, which I used for a total of about 20 hours before they went back in the case and were never to come out again.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, so Sean is right. A Marvel movie, I might pay $20 to see that, but you know why? I'm an adult. I'm an adult. That's an adult movie. Am I going to pay $30 for a movie that my kids want to watch and say, well, wait till it comes out on Netflix or on Disney Plus, but we're not going to pay for the pre-experience. You have to wait. Learn a little patience, young ones. But as an adult, I'm selfish and I'll watch the Marvel movie that I'll pay $20 for.
Yeah.
Well, let's be frank. That's how it's going to end up working.
So it's the big franchises that are going to get the buck, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to be interesting to see what Apple does with the iPhone. There's a lot of talk about new form factor with the iPhone, and then also these glass devices.
Yeah,
and it's supposedly going to connect to the iPhone too. So it's going to be just like the watch, right? It's going to be a wearable. Essentially,
the key is, I'm not a contact person. I get something near my eyeballs and I get weirded out. I don't think I just don't think I could ever wear contacts. And plus, I turn ugly. I look at this mug without glasses. It just something just doesn't look right. So the glasses have become part of my face. So I'm going to have prescription Google glasses.
Right.
And if they're not stylish, I'm not going to Apple Glass. If it's not stylish, I'm not going to wear it. These things weigh nothing. And I still get headaches from wearing
them. Have a battery in them, right? Processor
and a charger and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Peter asked, "What about Dream glasses?" I haven't heard about that. I need to go look at Dream World Vision. I have to. That's being at.
Pull it up on the screen. What's it called?
DreamWorldVision.com. Okay, so make sure I'm showing the right screen. Dream glasses 4K. Still, look at those things, Peter. They're massive.
Yeah, I don't believe that's what the Apple Glass.
No. Okay, maybe at home watching something, but you can't walk around all day with these on. How much is the Indiegogo campaign? Let's look at the Indiegogo campaign.
Okay,
wow.
There's some if you go to Google and type in Apple glasses, there's a couple of websites out there that have some concepts, right, of what this might look like, right?
Okay, so
it'd be interesting, for people to watch this show on their Apple Glass, right?
Mind unblocking us? Yes, I'm continuing with ad blocker, Tom's Guide, because you guys always put pop-ups in front of it. So that is even, if that's the mock-up, they're still ugly.
I mean, it's somebody's idea on what it could be, right? It's not what it really is. I mean, that hasn't been.
Okay.
shown yet.
That would be like, remember what was that guy's name? Kojak. Remember the glasses Kojak used to wear?
Yeah, yeah,
It does look like the glasses Kojak used to wear.
yeah.
I'm
But
dating myself.
but I can see this type of thing getting some level of attraction. I mean,
Yeah, I'm
especially from
sure.
Apple, right?
Hey, if you're an Apple fan, you're going to buy anything that they put out.
Right.
You're going to chalk up another $500-600, no issue.
So I heard that these are going to be probably less. They're going to be probably in the $399 range.
Well, that'll be the starter price. You want the designer glasses like mine with the thin frames, and it's $1,200.
Right. But what these glasses do is create an augmented reality
Yeah.
type of experience, right? So you're basically looking at your iPhone, basically kind of like what you would in the car or whatever from CarPlay or something like that. But you're going to be able to look through them and see the world behind the interface.
Right.
So you can walk around with them and be able to see your iPhone wherever you go. And there's a lot of people. I mean, I posted about this Twitter account, and I got a lot of people like going, it's not a good thing having them because it means that people can't get away from their technology. It's always with them, right?
Rob, I
know that ship has sailed.
That's right. That's done. I get on an airplane now, and they got free Wi-Fi, and free Wi-Fi sponsored by Facebook. Come on,
Right.
or whoever it may be.
Right, I agree. Wi-Fi is going to be everywhere.
Although it's we're actually, from the United States standpoint, we're way behind. There are many countries that are much more mobile savvy than we are. It is horrible.
Well, it actually was way ahead in Asia.
Oh, they still are.
Asia's always been way ahead.
Way ahead. Even in developing countries, they've been way ahead.
Right.
I know places in developing countries that there's fiber in the entire country. You can get 150 down, 150 up in the entire country, even to a shack. So, Hey, I have to ask, Rob, did you contact my friends at Audimute?
I bought it from art.com. Actually, it's the canvas print.
Okay. Now, I'm going to have to smack you.
Well, so how much was that?
Well, it's not inexpensive, but you would at least had some sound conditioning in your room.
Well, that provides a little bit of sound conditioning, but it's not that big. It's only 6 square, where that one I think is 24, right?
Maybe bigger than that. So how much did that one that was on the wall cost?
I think it was $39.
Yeah, the sound conditioning panel wasn't $39. But what's kind of cool there is we should be able to put that up for sale so people could buy one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But we really want
you. It's kind of like another sticker, right? Stick it on your wall.
Yeah, what we really want you to do, though, is go to audimute.com, which is the one that did the sound conditioning in this room, and buy. See, for those of you podcasters, let me do a little sponsor thing here, and this is really not a sponsor thing. But you can get your album art put on a panel, a sound conditioning panel.
Yeah, flip that around so you can see. So there is a sound panel.
A sound panel behind it, but you can get your stuff printed right on the front and used, and it's got quite the good detail. I've got a bunch of these throughout the studio here. I don't know the exact price, a couple $100.
Yeah.
Maybe not that much, but if you look at the panels behind me, it's got, you see dark green at the top and light green at the bottom. You can do a shading. I've got panels over here, panels over here. This whole room was probably, this room's cheaper than the green screen room. This room probably was about $600, $700, maybe $1,000 to do the whole room. Probably $1,000 to do the whole room.
Hey, Todd, I have a little bit of a secret I want to tell you about Wednesday's show.
Oh.
The one that we did for PodFest?
Yeah.
My background wasn't the.
No.
It was a green screen.
Oh, you did a green screen on the show I wasn't even paying attention.
Well, it's the same.
Right.
It was the same background that was
Right.
there. I just took a picture of my background and put a green screen behind me and superimposed it, and I added that the new media show image
Right.
to that was bigger than that. So if you
Let
remember,
me.
I had three pictures across the screen.
All right, let us look. Hang on here. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, there it is.
So I was playing around with green screen.
Oh, we can't see.
Yeah, you can. Right there on the left.
Oh, so that was pretty good.
That was actually a green screen background, right?
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Not today, though. It's definitely the aspect is different.
Right. It is. No. So you can see the new media show logo that was on the screen. It's getting cut off.
Yeah, in this view, because that's the way the software recorded it. But,
right.
Okay. Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
So you can place yourself someplace you're not now.
Yep. Pretty tricky, huh?
That's kind of cool. Oh, shoot. Just killed that.
Well, my thought was I could display things behind me if
Right,
I wanted to. So
right.
if I had a presentation or something like that, I could display things in a green screen type of experience behind me.
Well, it's gotten pretty slick, and you don't need a green screen to key either. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah,
no.
That's right.
So let's see here. Okay. Sean says, just what I need, an easier way to stare at my phone. And and Sean says, U.S. is too big geographically and spread out. I'm not sure what that exactly was in reference to that we were saying. But so anyway, we went kind of crazy circle here talking about the podcast awards and sites and ranting a little bit. But I think, I don't know about you, but it's just like I really didn't have enough time off. I
need more time off.
I do.
Well,
I really do.
What's really weird about this, and I think it's playing into what you're saying here, is, and at least it's my own experience, just the sheer fact that we're not traveling as much and going to events is really kind of, it's a big change. I mean,
I'm tired. I'm really tired.
Yeah, but it's like, but we're living completely different types of lives right now compared to what we've done over the last few years.
And it's in my opinion, it's not healthy. It's just as bad as this damn pandemic disease, this coronavirus. People are frustrated. People are lashing out. People are angry. This is why domestic violence stuff is way up on the list. Why suicides are way up on the list. People are just pissed. I saw someone post something the other day that basically said, I'm tired of this. If the rapture was to happen today, take me home. And I was just like, wow, that's a big statement.
Right.
Yeah. So
Todd, I also noticed that the Google is in the path for transferring the Google Play Music over to YouTube Music. That's going to happen in October. Looks like.
Oh.
And podcasts are gone from that.
By the way,
we
got this client that says, we don't want you to talk about us publicly. Please put everything behind your login. Talk to your podcasters. Give them this information. Please don't say anything publicly. Okay, roger that. I'm not going to say anything publicly. Then, 3 hours later, I get 2 emails in my personal inbox.
Right.
Okay, so I'm under NDA, and yet I get 2 invites in my personal invite inviting me to participate in, please keep this confidential, in this new platform that's launching. And then I got 100 tickets coming into my tech support team saying, what the beep is going on? How come you haven't put any information out publicly about this?
Mm-hmm.
I got this email. What am I supposed to do? So I sent a very interesting email Friday afternoon, late.
Yeah.
So we'll see what I got a response. We'll see what Monday brings. But a little bird whispered on my Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
It didn't whisper. The whisper was quite loud. Let me see if I can go find what that said on my Facebook.
So when you say client, what do you
Someone
are you
wrote
a
me.
listening client, or are you talking about a customer?
We're talking about a company.
A company.
A company,
Okay.
yeah. A big company who I happen to spend lots of money with every month, by the way. Personally and my business.
Okay.
So here is the thing I said on my Facebook page. I basically reiterated what I just said a minute ago. I said, client, please keep secret what we are doing and only post your podcasters on your internal site. Me, Roger that. Client 3 hours later appears to be emailing every podcaster on the planet. James Cridlin comments, that client will find that website address in a popular podcasting newsletter on Monday. And that client will also wonder whether ignoring my emails was the best plan for them.
They're not handling this very well.
And you guys started it. It's your guys' fault. It's your guys' fault. It's your fault.
Oh, I wasn't sure who you were talking about. But,
right. And I saw Rob Walsh's 3 posts on Facebook.
Right.
Addressing those exact emails, yet I'm under NDA and can't say anything about this.
Wow, Todd. Can I say?
So would you like to mention who the client is, Rob?
Well, I mean, everybody knows it's the Amazon, right?
You said it, not me.
I know. I agree. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's a slippery situation.
But the New Media Show got invited, public private email, and Geek and Central got invited, private email. Podcast Insider got invited, private email. Every podcast I'm associated with got a private email to ask it to stay confidential, but please come over to this link.
Walking a fine line.
Have any of you gotten an email that are listening right now? Have you got an email from this confidential email?
Yeah, because they haven't really launched. So it's the desire on the part of building the catalog before they open it up.
Great.
To listeners.
Announce it.
Right.
Fine. Make the public announcement. Be done with it. It's the cat's out of the bag. The cat was never in the bag.
No, I know. I agree with you.
It's fine.
It's politics inside the company. Right. And they were warned that this was going to happen. So we're just trying to mitigate it as best we can.
I don't. Yeah. It's good. Podcasters, add your shows. We want you to.
Right. Yeah. But the cat is out of the bag. Somewhat. Right. And they actually know. Obvious. It's obvious.
For sure.
Right.
So what it was our strategy of going to the hosting providers is too slow. It's not happening fast enough. That's my speculation.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, I think that they want to have a complete catalog.
Right. It's simple, and actually, let's just hypothetically, I have 1.35 million shows. My entire Blueberry infrastructure is on Amazon. It's on AWS Cloud.
It's already there. Right.
Entire thing. And I've got this cool thing called an API. And you get a username and a password, and you make a series of API calls, and we send you 1.35 million podcasts.
But that's not how they want to do it, right? They want to do it where the podcaster opts in.
Oh, I know that.
Sure. So that's how we advise to do it,
right?
Because
right.
then the podcaster knows that they're there.
That's right.
And can start promoting them, right?
Yeah.
So it's good for them, and it's good for the podcaster to know who's.
Do you think podcasters largely would have cared if they're on pass through that their show is listed over on that big conglomerate?
I think most want to be over there, right?
Yeah. So,
yeah. And there's a few
that may not.
Others. Well, no, I'm just saying there's a few more that are coming in the future, right? These big platforms. But Todd, this takes us back to something we talked about 2 episodes ago, right? It's still continuing to be talked about.
That's right. It is. We started something.
Do podcasters need to get a royalty payment for inclusion in these big platforms?
Yeah. It's amazing how we dropped a turd in the middle of the street and
all the flies came flying.
Oh, it's been there, and they're running. And of course, Dave, he came up with his philosophy that none of it, we'd get a few pennies out of this.
Right. Dave did, and Gordon Firemark, who's a copyright attorney, does a podcast too. He's jumping in James Cridland's jumping on this. Don't be surprised if there's going to be more articles coming out about this.
Oh, really?
I don't know where it's going, Todd. I don't know where it's going. I mean, is this something that you think is going to get legs? I don't know.
We'll see.
It would be difficult for everybody involved to pull this off in the short run.
Someone's asking, was my show the show that was cheating?
They're calling you out. Oh boy. Yeah. So what did you get from? What are they posting it in the thread?
They sent me an email. They can't believe their show wasn't nominated.
Oh. Good.
Yeah, people always want to know. Another show asking me.
What, are they watching this show?
No, someone saw my tweet about it.
Oh, I see. Well, next week is the big week for Podfest Global Summit. So
yep.
That's something that.
How they've been doing numbers wise?
From what I've seen in the app, the WUVA app, they've got I think there's 2,000 people that are participating in it so far.
Can you actually?
But that's
spread.
What happened last week was kind of was their preview week, right? Next week is when it actually the whole event really goes fully live.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen as many as 2,000 people in there. At any given time, they've got 600 people talking in there. And
how many talking?
600 people that are involved in conversations in the app.
Right.
They've had so far, looks like they've had about 14,000 comments back and forth amongst the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
And all sorts of kind of discussion groups that have spawned in the app, and that people are talking to each other. And this is the same type of strategy that Podcast Movement is doing as well right now with their app. They
Right.
have, right? So they're trying to drive people a little bit away from Facebook into their own app experience. And to some degree, that's what Chris is doing here with PodFest. So we're pulling people off of the web and getting them into apps.
Right.
So that's happening more and more.
Well, I couldn't get into the app. I could never find that link. They tried to send me to Eventbrite to sign up, and there was no promo code place to put anything in.
Oh, it's at the top of the page.
Well, okay, so let me go back to your email because I'm going to show you what I see, and maybe you can show me where I went wrong here. Let me see if I can find your email. Crap, which one is it? This.
Todd, I can get you a ticket.
Yeah, well, let me go and show you what I was talking about here. And all right, so okay, so let me show you this screen. Where is it? There's tickets.
Okay, click on tickets.
Yeah.
And up in the upper left-hand corner, it says enter promo code.
I'm blind as a bat. All right, awesome.
Do you have a code?
Yes, I have a code.
Okay, good. Just type it in there.
Well,
yeah,
now,
don't feel bad because I've had many. I've got a batch given away, but I've had a lot of people give me that same question. It's like I couldn't figure out where to enter the code.
Just
right.
Usually, like it's just hanging there in a.
Yeah, you usually click on one of the tickets and it goes to a promo code thing that you enter, right?
Oh, there we go. Isn't that beautiful?
It worked.
My God, it worked. Let me go ahead and check out now.
Yeah, because I didn't see your full profile in the app.
So no, I couldn't find it. It was I couldn't figure out how to because I wasn't paying $1,000 or 900 or whatever it was to.
Oh, you're not going.
Oh my gosh. Where are we at on time? Oh, we're there.
Yeah, we're at the bottom of the hour.
Holy cow! That's I think we covered a lot of ground. And here's so you guys just got a little insider baseball stuff about the podcast awards at the end. Me talking about some emails that come in.
Right.
No matter what you do, people are going to be pissed off. There's going to be a segment of folks that are going to say, how is it possible?
You're talking about the awards?
Yeah. How is it possible that I did not get nominated? I have a big audience. Well, there's a lot of listeners participating. And really what it is the podcasters that engage their audiences to get in and nominate their shows. And that's all it's about is what we're proving here is that you are able to engage your audience. Again, the People's Choice Podcast Awards, not Todd's Choice, not Rob's Choice. It's the People's Choice. And so you're engaging your listeners to come to the website and spend about 5 minutes to register and to nominate your show and submit that. And what we have found over the years is that oftentimes the bigger the show, the less amount of engagement they have. And that's just and don't shoot me. It's just what we've learned over the years. And this is why in the end, when we're done with the awards and after everything is done, voted on, you're going to find that the shows that end up winning are oftentimes not the biggest shows. It's the shows that have the biggest engaged audience.
Right. The fan base.
The fan bases. And
we're willing to do stuff to support the show.
Right. And we try to make sure that when we select these 5,000 random listeners, we try to make sure, because we know how they have nominated, we try to make sure there's equal weighting. So in other words, the show that, let's say, got the highest number of nominations in the arts category, there isn't a predominance of those same people that get to vote.
Right.
Because if let's say, for example, 4,000 people, let's use a number, 5,000 people nominated the number one show in arts, it would reason that show would, of those 5,000 listeners that we pick, there would be more of those folks. But the way we do it is we look at the weighting, and then we apply, well, basically an equalizer on that, so that I don't end up with a predominance of shows that did the same nominations for that particular show. That way we get an even spread of people that come in and actually do the final voting. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Because I don't want that show that have we got to make sure there's an even spread. And again, we do it across all voting. It's not just that show. So there'll be people that get to vote that didn't nominate any of the top 10. So,
right. Well, Todd, you know that we're both in the podcast awards business.
yeah. Well, good luck, Rob.
I know.
Yeah. Good luck.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone, I'm Todd at blueberry.com, at Geek News on Twitter.
And I'm on Twitter as well, at Rob Greenlee, and that's with 4 E's.
If you have any comment,
what's that, Todd?
Yeah, with 4 E's. You got corrected the other day.
I did. And then you can send me an email too if you want to, robg@lipson.com, and happy to answer your question about podcasting, or if you have a comment for the show, and we'll bring it to the program. But next Wednesday, just to let everybody know, Dan Frank is going to be joining us to talk about his world's largest virtual podcast movement event that's coming in here in October. So he's going to tell us all about that.
Competing world's largest.
Right in the middle of Chris's
world's largest. Yeah, should be fun. Hey, Podfest again next week. If you haven't got a ticket over there, make sure you get over. It sounds like, Rob, you've got some free tickets to Podfest. So if you want a free ticket, there's your ticket to a free ticket is robg@libsyn.com.
Well, actually, they do have free tickets.
Oh,
so
it's not like you're giving away free tickets.
Well, I did have some premium tickets.
Some premium tickets.
Right.
So I had something happen just before we go. I had something happen on my last show, where someone was on my show and made a pun that only a few people would understand, and I put out a $20 bounty for someone to respond to that email and say, I know what he referenced. We ought to come up with some fun pun thing here in the show to do too. So anyway.
So any new stickers come in?
No, I haven't. Nothing new has come in. The last one was from Kate and Taylor, and actually, I've got to get her care package sent back out. If you do want a sticker of the show, I've got a bunch of them though. We can let me see here. If you want a new media show sticker, if you want a Geek News Central sticker, we're going to send a whole bunch out. But if you want a new media package, send us one of your stickers. We'll send you a couple back. And the address to give a sticker, get a sticker. You'll go on our sticker board and be there in prominent display here in the new media production studios. And anyway, everyone, thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you next time here on the New Media Show. Take care. Bye-bye.